All right, guys, welcome back.
Yes.
Market Mondays, the switch up.
Yeah.
We are
feel like all day.
The shindigs are shindigging.
For sure. We in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes. This is going to be a satellite, a special episode. We got all three people here. Very rare.
Yes.
That we have Ian with us in the flesh.
More.
Yes.
At least once a month.
Indeed.
If we can. And then of course we have, a special guest that will be joining us later on in the programming. His name is Vlad Tenev.
May have heard of him.
The only Vlad we rock with.
Only Vlad I know is Tenev.
He's the CEO of Robinhood, billionaire tech founder.
Yep.
Believe he's like 36 years old, something like that. Still in his mid 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. They've created a new vertical on their platform. Their stock is up over 100% over the last 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
They just got upgraded. This meme stock craze that took off again last week.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he has some interesting takes on that because they got caught up in the GameStop situation last year when we interviewed him.
Yeah, that was the last conversation we had.
we spoke about that. So that's something that we'll be having later on in the episode for sure. And then Earn Your Leisure, big week. Ryan Breslow.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, legendary.
They in for a treat.
Tell me more.
No, they in for a treat.
Legend.
Man.
Well, I'll tell you this. That conversation that we had after the podcast was even crazy, but it's crazy. All right.
I want to see how you do this without like giving the line.
Forbes listed him as one of the youngest billionaires in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Okay. I think it was 27.
One of the youngest self-made billionaires in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not where it stopped. So he was telling us a story where he was a broke billionaire.
Wait.
Yeah.
But
he was a broke billionaire.
Okay. But yeah.
So he was just saying like, yo, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like his company got valued, $1 billion valuation. He was worth $1 billion when he was 27 years old.
Okay.
Forbes documented it. He was a billionaire at 27. He was like, and then all the hate started to come, and then there was lawsuits, litigation, and he was worth $1 billion on paper, and he had no money.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also doesn't want to be known as that too. Like
he doesn't like the billionaire.
He doesn't like that tap. But you're starting to see that a lot. I mean, it sounds crazy, but the people who ascend to that level is like that's not the first thing they want to be known for.
Yeah.
But it is like one of the most extraordinary things, right? How many people in the world? Was it like 1,000, 1,200, something crazy? Like he doesn't want to be known for that because it's so much more. And he has. I mean, it's just a brilliant dude. So he's dedicated his life not being a billionaire, but figuring out how to make sure that he does something that could leave impact on the world.
And it's a good way to keep people out your pockets.
Yeah.
Well, that number one.
Yeah.
For sure. And so, but the episode is super dope. It's about how to raise money. He's raised over hundreds of millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So he talks about his strategies as far as like how to raise money. One thing that he said, I'll give a gem away, is that if you want to raise money, ask for advice. If you want advice, ask for money.
That's a good lesson.
So he's like, when you're talking to these rich people and you asking them like, yo, I need $100,000, right, to start my business, they're gonna give you advice.
Yeah.
He's like, when you act like you really don't need money,
mm-hmm.
and you just like, I just have a great idea. Let me get your feedback, right?
Yeah.
Then psychologically, they feel like, oh, damn, I want to invest.
Yeah, how can I not be? I want to be part of this. This idea is so good.
Yeah, Cuban is investing in a few businesses like that. In that most recent interview he did.
Yeah.
So lead with asking for advice.
Yeah, it gives you the runway to actually tell the idea.
Yeah.
Without pitching it.
Yeah, and then I don't know if it's a hit idea or not. What industry is he in?
Tech.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the it's gonna be a great episode and a lot of gems. Very smart guy and super crazy story. So tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern Standard Time, we back at it with my guy Ryan. Shout out to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I'll say is Invest Fest.
Yes.
Get your tickets. We'll be announcing names very soon, but today we announced our partnership with Morehouse and Spelman College.
Shout out to the AUC.
Yes. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving away tickets. I believe over like 250 tickets to college students. And all you have to do is, if you're a college student, just post on your Instagram story about InvestFest and how it could benefit you from going. Tag Invest Festival, Earn Your Leisure. Follow Invest Festival, follow Earn Your Leisure. And then there's an application on investfest.com/HBCU. You fill out the application and first come, first serve. You will get your free ticket. And it's not necessarily just for Spelman and Morehouse. Those are the partnership that we've developed.
Yeah.
But if you are an HBCU student in Clark, Atlanta, or even other colleges that may not be in Atlanta, but you might be in Atlanta for August 23rd, you could feel free and fill out the application. This is for HBCU students, though, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you're 47 years old, don't try to pull a
Well, you
fast
could be
one.
a student. You still could be a student,
Don't try to pull a fast
right?
one. We have an application process for a reason.
The returning student.
We will be looking at your date of birth and all that stuff. So
No discrimination, please.
But yeah, this is the year of give back. So this is the first thing that we announced as far as the give back efforts, working with the historic HBCUs in Atlanta.
Love it.
So shout out to Morehouse and shout out to Spelman. And we got a bunch of other stuff that we'll be rolling out, as far as how we're going to involve the audience more and more this year in a lot of monetary ways. And it's going to be a crazy one this time around. So get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen.
Tickets.
August 23rd to August 25th in Atlanta, Georgia. All right.
And shout out to Bree. Shout out to Bree and Ab. I know they've been working diligently on that. So make sure y'all take advantage of it. We want to see y'all there.
For sure. So Ian, any announcements?
Yes, if you want to get rich from the market, join Red Panda Stock Club is the best place to do so. If I made you money, please put yes in chat so you can see the preponderance of proof and evidence there. If you know what, Stock Club prices are in Kajabi. So if you haven't seen them, I forgot to put in Tesla, so everyone thought that was my declaration that I'm done with Tesla. I'm not.
Whoa.
So that will be in today.
Breaking news.
But yeah, if you want to know where to invest, what not to invest in, price targets of where to invest for swing trades, long-term and quick entries, join the stock club. Go to ianinvest.com. I love you all so much. And InvestFest, I will be giving away 10,000 on stage.
10 bands.
And I will be talking about live trading and showing live trades there in Atlanta. So
what more can I say, right?
There you have it.
Y'all know how this works, man. This is a disclaimer before we get this thing started. Do your own research. Please do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment decision based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you hear on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Please do the research, continue to share the research. And when it's great research and you've used it and actually applied it and you make some money, give credit to the person you heard it from. Love is love. Let's build community.
peace.
All right. So let's get into the first topic. And I will say this. We will be talking about Diddy on Blackout.
Yes.
So tune in to Blackout. We will have a special guest, Kenny Burns.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about the Diddy.
Muta called me too. Shout out to my boy.
Did he?
He said, "Well, come on."
Does he? From Saudi Arabia?
Outlaw. Shout out Tupac.
So we will be talking about the rise and fall of a black billionaire on Wednesday for you people that are interested in hearing our take on that. But that will be during the Blackout Hour.
Yes.
So for now, let's talk about some financial topics.
Yes.
What do you think of Chat GPT 4.0 demonstration? And that was released last week. And how innovative of an update is it for the company? And let's play a video. Actually, I think we have a video. So
incredible.
Let's run that.
We asked the live audience on X to submit few requests for what they would like us to try out here. So I will take a couple of prompts. Okay. Bot Gaskar wants to know if GPT-4o is capable of real-time translation. Mark, you want to try this one?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I speak Italian, so we can just do English, Italian.
Try to do English, Italian. Sure, let's do it. Hey, ChatGPT, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. So I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Mark, io mi chiedo se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni lineari.
Sicuramente sì.
Certainly, yes.
Great. Looks like it works.
I'm gonna be very honest. When I saw it, I said, "Thank God Apple is partnering with them to help improve Siri." Because if not, Siri would have been dead. Most product demos kind of overhype what they're going to deliver. As soon as you sent me the video, I went and tested it right away. It's almost better than what they talked about on the demo. I think this is definitely product of the year, hands down. Poor Duolingo. As soon as that translation came out, the stock dropped. If I was the CEO, I would be in shambles. I think this is the best product I've seen in maybe 5 or 6 years. They keep finding ways to be better. Apple, I know you did the partnership, but you need to find a way, because once they integrate into that Siri platform and make Siri better, people are going to say, "Let me just use GPT instead."
I think Siri's dead.
It's over with.
Yeah,
it's over with.
I saw the clip first, and then I watched the 27-minute actual piece of the demonstration. I was blown away. And so I just had to send. I was trying to send it to everybody I could, because once I saw the generative AI assistant, I'm like, oh, it's here. Yeah, it's already here. And so when you're talking about having it take meetings and it being aware of what's being said in the meetings and taking notes about the meetings, but then on top of it,
awareness,
on top of it, it actually gave input. Yeah, right. So it's actually listening to the voices that are in the meeting, translating it, dissecting it, but actually taking the cognitive awareness to actually have input inside of the meeting. So this isn't just like, what is that, Otter, where it just records? Yeah. This is actually giving feedback, which I had never seen before. The language translation thing, I think, for especially people who travel a lot,
phenomenal.
To be able to adapt language in real time at the speed that it was doing in the demonstration, I think is absolutely insane. It's a game changer. Last week we talked about the partnership with Apple. I think it was perfect. They knew this was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. They had to get in front of it.
They knew it was coming, but it also we spoke about this last week, but it was that partnership. Like, hey, they have a product that we need, we can't be without. I know Microsoft is invested in it heavy.
Yeah.
We need to work together, because even if they put out a product, is it going to be as advanced? Is it going to be as ready to be used right now? It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
OpenAI out Apple. Yeah, that was one of the best product demos I've seen probably since the first iPhone.
Steve Jobs. And right after Google announced.
Absolutely.
Right. And so you can see, like, when we're talking about AI wars, it's interesting. Like, we have these conversations and we feel like people are cognizant of what AI is. And then you walk into rooms and people have no idea.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what does the next 5 years look like? I'm like, look, we need to really be studying this technology, because if we get left behind, I don't know how we catch up.
Yeah.
So to see, they're calling it, was it 4.0? They're just calling it Chat GPT 4.0. And to see what Google's announcing the day after, the war is here.
Yeah.
The war is here. The technology's here. It's going to, you can implement it right away. It's bigger than just, hey, asking a question, right? And I know Google was, and that was one of the things, Shadi, I know you use this all the time. Like, you use it as a search engine.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
like, so than Google,
if we're talking about Google, right, they are known for a search engine. But now if I have all these things in one place, am I less likely now to go to Google search? I know they have the partnership with Apple too. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Think about if you were a startup and you had the backing of Apple and Microsoft, and you had a better product than both of those empires. They're going to take pole position. Give them like 5 or 6 years if they stay on this run. It's going to be really tough. I think we can say like that FANG era is done. We need to have some serious conversations about, and if they find a way to spin off and become publicly traded,
different story.
It's game, set, match.
Different story.
So let's talk about Microsoft then, because Microsoft obviously, owns half of OpenAI.
Smart move.
Their stock hovering around like 425, which is a few dollars short of their 52-week high. So what's the forecast for Microsoft stock? How high can we see Microsoft stock potentially getting over the next couple of years?
I can see it going maybe to 560, 575 easily. Because they're the benefiter of the OpenAI partnership, and on top of that, they're doing incredibly well in the B2B services area. One thing that I love about the CEO is you don't see him in any scandals. You don't hear him talk unless it's outside of the business. And they have found their footing after they had their lost decade. One of my favorite stocks of all time. And that's why I keep saying the companies with the most money, if they cannot beat an up and coming startup, they're going to find a way to partner and or buy it outright.
That's it. That's why when we talk about the operating cash flow, when they have I think they were. We did this on the call. It was over 100 billion
easily.
I mean, when you're talking about that amount of cap, they're going to figure out a way to implement it. Like you said, if we can't create the technology, we're going to partner with technology, or we're going to buy the company outright and implement it. We're already at $3 trillion. In the next 5 years, are we talking $4 trillion company? They're already number one in market cap. Yeah.
I believe. And if you think about it from an analyst standpoint, you don't hear one analyst saying, I have them going down in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It's rare to get all the analysts at scale to say, no, I only see upside potential. Now, if they do a stock split, that would be even better. I don't know if they'll do that, but they are a media darling, a hedge fund darling, and they're innovating, I would argue, much better than Apple even is at this time. So continue to hold Microsoft for a long period of time. I think their CEO is doing a better job than Tim Cook is. Tim Cook, I love you, and everyone over at HQ. But I think they definitely will remain the number one company in the world.
So, when you think about the next 3 to 5, I think the two companies that lead, NVIDIA and Microsoft, at some point, will Microsoft decide we're going to create our own?
Will be smart.
Right? If this is going to be a direct competitor, and we've seen mega caps work together, we know the path for NVIDIA. We can see the trajectory. Everybody upgrades it. Every quarter, it feels like. And this Wednesday, we'll see. I think they're going to have another blowout quarter. At some point, does Microsoft say, okay, we've been relying on your semis.
Yeah.
We're going to have enough capital to get a company that we can partner with or build our own?
I think because they're more collaborative, we always talk about collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
I think it would be smart to pay NVIDIA to help make their own division, give them a royalty maybe for 5 or 10 year period, so they don't have to put all those resources in trying to build their own when they're not an expert at that. Like we saw Apple misstep with the crypto market. They misstep with the EV car, had to shut it down. And that kills time. Outside of the capital, you're like, there's other projects Apple could have put money into, and they didn't. So I think it would be smart for Microsoft to partner with NVIDIA or ASML. Say, hey, make our own division. We'll give you a royalty for a certain period of time, and after that, we own it outright.
We got some ASML news a little bit later. We're going to get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the Dow closed above 40,000 record high, right? And that's 5 week of wins. So it's been on a historic run.
Yep.
So what are your top 5 companies in the Dow
that you let's go.
invest in? If you
what you got?
Number 1, I'm gonna have to go my baby Microsoft, of course.
Easy one.
Amazon,
of course.
Both of our babies, right? American Express, which is on fire.
Check you out
right now. Yeah, I invest. Contrary to internet rumors,
I want to see if we got the same 5. So far, what was that 4 before?
Amgen, and then Amazon, Apple, American Express, Microsoft, and Amgen. Those are my 5.
Okay,
that's my Fab 5.
That's a hell of a 5. I had 4 of those 5. I had Amazon. Everybody knows how I feel about Amazon. Apple was there. Microsoft was there. Amex is my other, and then I had Visa. I had Visa. I spoke about them on our last call about just them. We had me and Shadi had dinner with somebody from Visa, and it was interesting when you think about it. They don't even have their own card, right? They just partner with different branches, but what they do from a global standpoint, I think separates them.
Yeah,
we saw American Express obviously here, but when it got to China, we saw how the stock ticked up with the consumerism there. But Visa's been in all these global imprints for a long time. So I like them. And then I know people are going to like, well, Troy, you didn't say Disney. This is just my top 5. Obviously, I still love Disney. I'm still invested in Disney, right? Disclaimer. But if I had to pick the 5, I would add Visa into it with the other 4 that we both have.
And also, too, if you're wondering why we both pick credit card companies, American debt is at an all-time high.
Of course.
They are the primary beneficiary of debt being that high.
Yeah.
So unless you think debt is going to drop by 20% over the next 2 years, you should be long Visa and American Express for sure.
Now, we could have chose United Health, which would have been something in healthkure.
Yeah.
I think that would have been appropriate. I feel like even looking at the Dow, and most people had never looked at the 30 companies inside of it. Intel's still in there at some point. Right?
At some point, we got to take you behind the barn.
At some point, I don't think they'll be part of the Dow. And we'll be interested to see what replaces it.
That's a good question. Put it in the comments. Who do you think Intel should be replaced by? So the CEO of Intel, I have no issue with you or the company. Amazing career. I appreciate you so much, but stock has not performed well.
I mean, can we Nvidia? Feels like the obvious choice if we're talking in the same sector.
Maybe not too volatile, but I think the price ranges for the Dow
Got to be certain, for the averages.
Yeah, and
right?
plus the cost is so high.
This is true.
Yeah, cost
This
is
is
so
true.
high.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like even understanding the criteria of what it takes to be in the Dow. Like we've seen companies go in and out of the S&P.
Yeah,
we were on market Mondays when Tesla joined, a few other companies, and so like understanding the criteria to be part of the Dow is an interesting thing.
Tesla don't get it together. You gotta kick them out too.
Yeah, those weighted averages are important. Yeah. Tesla might get kicked out.
Tesla gotta get it together.
So, all right. So Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. Since Warren Buffett has been a net seller of Apple stock, which companies do you like that he owns in his top 10 holdings?
Well, he has American Express, so that goes back to the point in the Dow. I love Moody's. I don't think we talk about Moody's enough. We talked about it maybe, I think, in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Ticker is MCO. I love that. And then Chubb is another one, which is an insurance company that is publicly traded.
Mm-hmm.
That's his bag. So he owns a great percentage of Geico. So financial services is what he likes to lean on.
Yeah.
American Express is amazing. I don't like that he was a net seller of Apple, of course, but if I had that many billions invested in, I would as well. So American Express, Apple, Chubb, I like. Kraft Heinz is okay. Coca-Cola is okay, but those are the three I would definitely lean on to hold for like a 4 or 5 year period.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting ones is Oxy.
That's a good point.
Petroleum. It wasn't something that he usually would have been invested in, but if you look at the news over the past 5 to 6 years, you can see the investment criteria has changed a little bit, and he's allocated more funds, more shares into Oxy, which I had never heard of until I started seeing him invest, and it was like, all right, well, if he's investing in it, let me do some research as to why. And so, yeah, he has Chevron on the portfolio as well, but he's also in Occidental Petroleum as well. So that's one of those interesting ones.
He used to bet heavy in Exxon as well.
Right.
So if he's in Oxy, Exxon, and Chevron, isn't that technically a short against the EV space?
Look at it like that, right? Right.
EV space some bullshit, yo. I'm gonna be honest. This is I'm gonna be real. What it takes to make the post about the Congo and all that, like the resources that it takes to have an EV car is not as clean as it was once purported to be.
Yeah, you have to have certain resources. I actually have an EV.
You do?
I do. I'm happy with the EV, but I can understand the process. If you're a first-time owner or if you're trying to get one, it can be difficult.
I mean, they tried to make it seem like it was a much cleaner version.
There's a bunch of stations. The wait time is a crazy. The price. That was one thing I was surprised by. Like, if you're not a member of one of these organizations that has an EV station, like you pay a premium.
Absolutely.
And so your gas price and your EV, the charging price could almost be the same. But for your electric bill too, people they're like, all right, well, I have a charger at my house. Well,
it adds up.
Your electric bill is part of that. So,
and with the tariffs that we're putting on China and China's putting on us, that's going to be interesting to see. Will like Lee Automotive or something in China now take the lead in the EV space? Did
you see the proposed tariffs that the administration is looking to have on China going forward?
No, I didn't.
Like there was like a 25% tariff on semis. It was like the numbers were crazy.
Oh, y'all gonna make them go invade Taiwan?
Oh yeah, it was.
I mean, tax me for the semis? Oh man,
no, it was crazy. The numbers are crazy. Yeah, if you haven't looked, go look. I think Biden's administration they recently talked about the proposed tariffs on China.
Did they criticize Trump for putting in tariffs?
I don't know. Allegedly, they could have.
This is tricky political season, man.
They could have.
Tricky.
So, okay. Let's talk about, since we're talking about EVs, do you ultimately believe that China will be the leader in the EV space?
If Tesla does not make a hard correction, and that is our preeminent star, it could happen in the next 3 or 4 years. Like BYD's, have you seen their trucks? Beautiful. They're like they almost look like baby Bentleys or Rolls Royces or something. I don't know. Because of course, like Mercedes is pulling back because the EQS hasn't been as successful as they thought it was going to be.
It looks nice,
beautiful.
Yeah.
GM and Ford aren't investing as heavily. So if you don't have the major automotive companies here investing in EV, which is also another sign that it may not be everything it was cracked up to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they take the lead, and they are kind of blocking Elon from operating in China as much as he wants to when you have your own brands there. I don't see how in 5 years, especially if he doesn't get off the cocaine, which is allegedly.
Alleged. Please.
We'll talk Wednesday. Last week, prophecy. But
Prayers.
I really do believe that we will lose that race in the long term. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about reliance on petroleum, and we talked about the greatest investor of all time and the things he's invested in. It's very interesting from an American standpoint. From the Chinese standpoint, innovation is something that they've let in for years. And so it feels that way. It feels like the craze for Tesla has quieted down. And people, and we talked about this plenty of times, we're not looking at Tesla as an EV company.
Yeah.
We're looking at it as its totality, as a tech company.
Yeah.
Yes, they make EVs. So, and from that standpoint, I think there is some trouble there. BYD is, I mean, for everything that we've seen, is, if not better, just as good a product. And if there are tariffs, we're talking about on shipping, like, what the point of getting an American vehicle if I can have a company that's here that I'm not going to have to pay a premium on to have. So it'll be interesting. But you're right. The American cars, if we think about EVs, who are the companies that we think about here? I mean, we just saw the G-Wagon, which was nice from Mercedes, but outside of that, the Taycan with the Porsche. But outside of that, I mean, what is the vehicle?
I don't think we have a premium vehicle that just looks amazing. And then I think we're in a changing of the guard of a lot of industries, just like how OpenAI came in when everyone was being comfortable with social media. They came in and built a real product that people needed.
Yeah,
a lot of that is happening in other spaces. I think BYD, the stock may not be performing as well because China has their own list of issues. But even though Druckenmiller, Michael Burry is heavily back invested in Alibaba, which I thought was fascinating. But if they start to make a recovery, I think we're going to see by 2026, like a lot of companies that were in the lead, they're going to lose their lead by not being focused and not delivering on the product they promised.
We thought, and I'll be guilty of that, we thought Rivian would perform a lot better than it has.
Yeah.
We saw, Nikola, that was a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rivian has been kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, I've seen more of those cars on the road, though.
Especially with the partnership with Amazon coming into it from a delivery standpoint. I have seen a few delivery vehicles. You don't see them as much on the road, right? That's that gauge. Like, I think Shadi uses that test, like the eye gauge. Yeah. Do I see these things out here? Not really. Not really.
They look amazing. Like, what's the last beautiful car you've seen?
Beautiful car?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really a car person, but I like, there's some nice cars out there.
Are they American made?
American made? Probably not. No.
That's tough. That's tough. When you can't, like, people. I know some people put Corvette probably, but outside of that, there aren't that many.
Corvette? Yeah, I'm not a Corvette guy.
Yeah, me either. But shout out to Chevy. I want to ruin every relationship.
I'm a Mercedes guy.
Yeah.
So let's
reach out to us, please.
Let's talk about, we got to talk about some geopolitical stuff. Hit the like button.
Yes, please.
And share, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So first, the president of Iran confirmed that he passed away in a helicopter crash. And I think there was 7 other or 9 other people.
I think the Secretary of Defense was on there as well.
Really?
So yeah, the president of Iran passed away in a helicopter crash. It was confirmed last night, and then they confirmed like he was actually dead today. And then the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court in Hague, I think, that they are seeking arrest warrants on Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, amongst a few other people as well, on charges of war crimes against humanity on both sides. All right. Very interesting times that we're in, obviously.
Yeah.
So, now the ICC, they have to apply for the arrest warrant. So it's not officially issued yet, but they put an application in. It goes to a judge. If the judge certifies it, then the arrest warrant will be. Now, I don't know how effective the arrest warrant will be for the prime minister of Israel, but just for them to even actually put that application in speaks volumes, I think. And it's just crazy timing that the president of Iran dies in a helicopter crash. What's your thoughts on this?
It's above my pay grade and political experience. If Vladimir Putin got away with it with Prigozhin a few months ago, in this trying time politically and on the war front, but this is way above my pay grade.
This is so. Not only was the president on that helicopter, but the country's foreign minister was found dead as well. All reports right now, they haven't offered a cause for the crash, nor suggested that it was a sabotage that brought it down. It fell in the mountainous terrain. When it came across, I think we were sitting together, Shadi, when you had showed it to me. I'm just like, oh no. Oh no.
Is this like the third time a leader has died in a helicopter in the last 8 months?
We gotta stop driving these helicopters. I mean, that's Kobe died in a helicopter.
Yeah.
One of the guys from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yep.
He died in a helicopter in Las Vegas. Now this helicopter crash. These helicopters don't seem too safe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, from what we've said, right? It's like, how often does a helicopter crash, right? Like more people get in a car crash. We'll say that, well, there's more cars on the road. But I just don't know. I mean, it doesn't feel like the safest travel, right? I feel like we've seen, especially for dignitaries and people that are heads of states, it just doesn't feel fitting for the travel.
Episode of Scandal, yo. Right? I can't believe, this is happening so frequently. Like, this used to happen like once every 5 or 10 years. Like, it's happening, especially going into like these election cycles and like some key political moments. Be careful. I mean, if they want to get you, they're going to get you. But be careful. That's all I can say.
Does it feel like foul play?
Perhaps. See, certain topics I'll touch. This one, I don't need them Illuminati IMF calls on. Nope, won't get me. We can talk about Suge Knight. I would not talk about this.
I think it's too early to say foul play. I think it would be an irresponsible statement if we said it's foul play. It's a very, obviously touchy situation. And first and foremost, we have to, be mindful of the people of Iran who just lost their president. No matter how you feel about the political structure, is still a world leader, right? So I don't think that it's responsible to speculate on that. I just wanted to report the information because it is worthy of reporting for sure. Now, we haven't done investigative journalism, so we can't. I don't think we're able to actually speak intelligently on this matter in depth. But at the very least, I think when a president of a country, especially Iran's an important country, when they die, it should have at the very least should be reported on, and also when the ICC issues arrest warrants for heads of state, that should be reported on as well, right? So, I think that that's something that should be reported on and people should be aware of.
Yeah, and they've named the acting president today, this evening. So, we monitor that.
This is why Rashad is a media master. Clap it up.
For sure. All right.
You right out that little trap they were trying to set for me.
And also, we actually went to Washington last week. So
great time.
Shout out to Representative Underwood.
Yes, I appreciate
for inviting us. We met with the Congressional Black Caucus. We had a private tour of the U.S. Treasury.
That was amazing.
We met with the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury. And then we also met with the Secretary of Education and his staff as well. So, that's an interesting field day because, we went to the place where they actually make money.
They print the money,
And we got to see, over $40 million actually being made. And it puts it in perspective when you can actually see, a piece of paper that is worth nothing turn into 40 million over the course of a half an hour, from it being dyed, it being printed, it being stamped, it being
authenticated,
sliced, putting the laser stamp on it. And then voila, now it's worth $40 million.
I think at one point we looked at each other and I'm like, have you ever seen 300 million before?
No.
I'm like, Look right there.
Yeah.
Like in front of you, there's 300 million. Yeah. And we were just like, I mean, just super inquisitive about it because this is super fascinating, right? Like, well, how long does it take? Well, they were like, it takes us an hour to print $7 million. Like an hour, $7 million.
Maybe like, what, 5 feet high?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about that. So now the next question is, well, how much can you produce in a day? And they're like, somewhere in about 400 million a day.
Yeah.
400 million in a day.
And supply money out there.
Yeah, but that was, that was a great trip. We got to talk to the Secretary of Education about, financial literacy. We got to talk to the Congressional Black Caucus about financial literacy. And, there's always going to be critics. So some people said, well, they're just pandering to you guys because it's election time. Well, I mean, I think that would be intelligent for them to do, to try to cater to us during election time. Now, we haven't endorsed any political party. We haven't endorsed a political candidate and don't plan to. But we do take invitations for people that have an invitation.
Yeah.
So if the Republican Party, as I said previously, if the Republican Party would like to extend an invitation for us to meet with any of the top leadership or the person that they have running for president or any other person that they feel might be relevant, governor, senator, we would gladly accept that invitation because it's important. But during the course of the 5 years that we've been in business, we have never been reached out to by a Republican on a local level, on a national level, or on any level. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a registered independent, but I'm just letting you know that if you see us with the Democratic Party, well, that's because those are the people that have reached out.
Yeah.
It's not too hard to figure out.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, you can still make an educated decision on whoever you want to vote for. But if you're not at the table, if you're not involved in the political process, if you don't have the insight, then you don't really have a voice. So we have a platform that has now enabled us to at the very least be in the conversation, right? And we can now
make change for good.
What could potentially happen from that? I don't know. But at least we got to actually say what we think is important.
Yeah.
We got to raise some issues. We got to speak for the public, right? We're advocating for you guys. So, like I said, I can't necessarily say, okay, we told them X, Y, and Z, and now as a result, this is going to change. I don't know if it's going to change or not, but it can't hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Also to understand what the roadblocks are. Like, even, I don't want to speak too much, but just to know one person can't make a decision about education across the nation very easily. Like, even to get in the meeting, there's 100 other roadblocks to getting this information out to our kids that's readily available. This is why like this show is so important. And secondly, why do you think we would sell out? I'm just speaking for me.
Yeah.
He's the media master. I'm not.
Yeah.
Why do you think we're going to sell out?
Yeah.
No, that's not what we're here. But you do have to be in the rooms to understand the landscape, because in order for a market to move, the market moves after they made the declaration and make the decisions from the government side first. So even tech being a big thing, tech is a big thing because all the money that's been put into tech since 1950 that came from NASA and the exploration of the moon and all. Like, you have to understand how the money flows, and seeing that in the Treasury, it's printed in Washington.
Yeah, I just think that
by accident.
There's times in life when you have to really like have a reflection about who you are and the people you know, right? So when we're talking about three gentlemen who you've watched from day one, 4 years ago, now have access to things that you probably would never have on a daily basis, right? How many people, especially I'm coming from education, how many people talk to the leading person in the country when it comes to education, and they ask about your ideas?
It's rare,
I mean, it's like impossible. We're talking about our ideas. They're telling us some of their ideas. The next thing is like, how can we make something happen, right? The access alone should be looked at as, wow, these guys have done something incredible. They speak for us. They come from us. They've literally watched us. So when you see the other side of it, it's like, well, people don't get it. But that's fine, right? It just tells you there's more
small few.
There's still more work to do, right? Even being in in front of the Congressional Black Caucus and being able to be introduced. And thank you to Chairman Horsford for having us. Speaker Jeffries as well. How many people have that opportunity?
Not many.
But the people who are here, who support day one, you have access to us, and we have access to that. And so we like these people are public officials. They're elected by us, right? But do they get to hear our voices? Not all the time. And so you should look at it as like, oh, there's a representation. Not, oh, these guys sold out. Oh, they become part of Illuminati. Oh, this is just an election year. No. We have a voice.
Yeah.
We represent a population that was underserved, and we're saying our concerns. Here's the things that we want to do. What do you guys plan to do? How do we work together? It should be looked at as like that.
Yeah. And there's no way Nick Cage is getting all that money out of National Treasure. I'm being in the Treasury. Oh, it's tight. It's like that. Listen, a guy who had clearance to hand us a bundle of money, as soon as he handed it, a guy came over. Hey, what do you hold up, bro?
A brick.
Hey,
a real brick.
And then the next day we had lunch with Don Peebles, and we was talking about politics with him and different things. And if you don't know who Don Peebles is, he's the billionaire black real estate developer, most successful real estate developer in American history. And just talking about different, it's just a certain level of maturity that I think you gotta start to grow in. And like I have no ops. Like, I mean, as far as the only ops that you should have if you're past 30 years old is opportunity. So the opportunities far outweigh the nonsense. So it's like, we're talking to him and he's explaining different things, and he's talking about the political process and how you got to try to work with the governor to get the tower built and all of this stuff. And then the mayor of New York and all that. It's like, if you're not involved in the political process, you're going to be, if you're not at the table, you're going to be on the menu. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want, but you're going to continue to be a victim of society if you don't fully understand how society works.
Yeah.
So, this is just you watching the evolution and happen in real time.
Real time, yeah.
But understand that, the money's going to be made regardless.
Absolutely.
Right? And the powers that be, they don't care about your feelings. I'm just being honest with you. So you keep leading with emotion, and you keep, you're getting bogged down in things that aren't really important. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, damn, like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Trump said on a national platform, blacks, what other choice do you have? You know what kind of balls it takes to say that, like, and not to even care that it's going to upset people? Like, so yeah, you got to be involved in the process. And I'm even learning a lot, because you may have an idea as an entrepreneur, but if certain things cannot get stamped and approved, there's a roadblock that you're going to hit, or a ceiling that you're going to hit. Mm-hmm. And that's why even media is so important. Like, I don't think as an investor I had to learn media, then I had to learn media to be able to get the message out, which Buffett does and Druckenmiller does. Like, the greats have all mastered multiple lanes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they call Warren to the White House every couple of years to see, especially if the economy is not doing well.
Yeah. And it gives you a better perspective, especially speaking to the Secretary of Education, when we're thinking about policies that can help New York City. He has to look at it from a national standpoint.
Yep.
Right? Like, yeah, that's New York City, but what happens in Indiana? What happens in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Right? Because he's not just representing New York. Obviously, that's dear to us. Indiana's dear to, but like, no, I have to look from a national level. Who is in charge of education from each state, each district? Like, there's so many layers to it. So it's tougher as you go up to actually implement things, because you need everybody on board. Absolutely. And so, I mean, it might not just be us, right? It might be other people's ideas that come together to create something that's impactful for the country. So, I mean, like you said, if you're not a part of the conversation, then I mean, you just gonna have to deal with
make a lot of noise that you want this information, because certain groups have it already. For the kids that are not learning this in first grade, second grade, third grade, please make a lot of noise amongst your schools and locally and politically, in order for some changes to be able to come about, because it's a lot harder fight than I thought it would be.
So, all right, hit the like button and share.
Yes.
Couple minutes, we are bringing on Vlad Tenev.
Let me ask you, how do you become media masters? You are good. You're old. I'll see you. Shout out to my Pacers.
That's what we doing?
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Brunson. I'm sorry, man. That hurt my heart.
That's what we doing, man?
I'm from Indiana.
That's sensitive to us, man.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not a Knicks fan, but
y'all had
we represent New York. We represent.
Come
on, man.
It was tough, man. Congratulations to the Knicks, man. They made the city proud. They had a hell of a season. Hopefully, we can get LeBron next year and try to get this check.
He's starting this campaign. Yeah, he's starting the campaign. It's been 2 weeks now. He's been saying the same thing.
Randall coming back?
Do the right thing.
Randall's coming back. Yeah, shoulder surgery. He'll be back. Robinson will be back.
Okay.
OG will be. Well, they got to sign OG. He's a free agent, but hopefully he'll be back
for next year.
Yeah, they were. I mean, when OG played, they were 26-5.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he tried to play yesterday, lasted 4 minutes. I mean, you got a hamstring tear. I mean, it's over.
Yeah, I think it was a story of the season.
Then Brunson broke his hand.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Hell of a season.
Shout out to Ant Edwards, though.
Shout out to Ant-Man.
That boy Ant-Man.
That's a different species right there.
Boy Ant-Man. Okay, yes, we'll be bringing up Vlad Tenev in a couple minutes, CEO of Robinhood, billionaire. This is Billionaire Week, actually. We got him. We got my boy Ryan tomorrow. We're on a roll, per usual. And on Wednesday, we're going to talk about the rise and fall of a black billionaire.
Yes.
So, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This is the rise and fall.
No, allegedly this week. I'm going crazy. And if Moody come on, y'all can just stay. I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah.
The rise and fall of a black billionaire on Blackout, 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Prayers up.
Oh, yes. So I forgot to mention EY University. Shout out to Shonda Martin, credit expert. This Thursday and next Thursday, we will have a 2-part masterclass on credit. Everything you need to know, FICO score, how to build your credit, how to repair everything on EY University. So EYuniversity.com. That will happen this Thursday and that will happen next Thursday. And we'll be back with Troy's option class next month.
Yeah.
Okay. So Netflix, right?
Speaking of a 2-parter.
Netflix has announced that they will have 2 NFL games on Christmas.
Yeah.
So if you had to go along with the 2 companies and short for the next 2 years, hold on. What does it say? If you had to
go along
long on 2 companies and short
2 companies.
How is that playing with the Netflix story though?
Because Netflix is one of the companies that I belong on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So Netflix has announced that they will have 2 NFL games this year for Christmas. And that's something that we're seeing more and more as far as streaming companies getting into the world of sports. We saw with Peacock, we're seeing with Netflix, it's happening. So how do you feel about Netflix? And then also, if you had to go long 2 companies and then short 2 companies for the next few years, what are they?
I renounce my throne for any bad commentary I ever had on Netflix. To Reed Hastings and whoever is the chief executive now. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I find it really interesting, going back to everyone as your competition, that they dismantled cable and now they are the new cable company. The WWE, UFC combination is going to be amazing. They announced also that Raw is going to be on Monday. They have the SmackDown lineup on Friday. So now they're doing a bunch of live broadcasts. The NFL one is going to be amazing. I think we can say they're number one probably in that subscription media place. The second stock I would be long on would be Google. YouTube has the most minutes watched of any media program. If I was down on 2, it would be Paramount and another company that you probably don't want me to say.
You gonna say Disney? Yeah. Go ahead.
I won't say it, but that would be my second one. But I think this is a hell of a move by Netflix to have now, and they did it with the roast of Tom Brady, which is pretty funny if you saw it.
I watched it.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting to include those live components to have everyone talking about things at one time. They cracked down on the password sharing. Revenue is up. Hell of a turnaround. Kudos to everyone at Netflix. Netflix and Google will be the 2 companies I will look to invest in long term.
Disney now cracking down. So they saw what Netflix did with the password sharing.
Yep.
And now they're due for the password sharing. But yeah, I mean, Netflix makes a lot of sense from a standpoint of now getting the live sports. We kept talking about who's going to get live sports. NFL, which is the most dominant live sport in the country by far.
Yeah.
Having those 2 Christmas games when everybody's home makes a lot of sense. It's just not any regular season game. I think it's the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs play one of the games, and the Steelers, which are, top 5 franchises in the league. It was interesting. I was looking at the WNBA's impact because that seems like that's the league now that people are watching. What's the TV rights deal going to be now? Obviously, with Caitlin coming to Indiana and her starting off the season, first 2 games shaky. Third, she came to New York and lit it up. Who's going to get the rights to that? I think Amazon's in position, and Disney with ESPN has it. So live sports is going to be the thing. Apple got MLS, has worked at as well. I know Peacock has a Premier League, which is huge. Yeah. So if people they're going to figure out their way. So interestingly enough, and you talked about Paramount. So that Max, HBO, Discovery, they're all in the same umbrella. They actually have live sports because they had TNT.
Yep.
But that hurts now, right? If the NBC, we talked about this last week, NBC gets basketball.
Yeah.
Now it hurts the service.
Yeah.
So I might be with you when we talk about Paramount and Discovery and Max, because again, if they lose TNT and that is something that you can watch, now what do we have? Right? Peacock now becomes even more dominant because their streaming service, NBC streaming service, is Peacock. So if you can watch the games on NBC, now of course they'll be on that streaming. Now they have live basketball. It's gonna be tough.
If you were the CEO of Netflix, like what other live programming show would you want to add to make the retention higher on the platform? Y'all have massive
live sports
or any live format show.
I would definitely, the sports is the number one thing, I think.
Yeah.
Just focus on that. That would be my top thing. And then concerts, maybe.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
Festivals, like, you know.
Yeah, I think Hulu has done that with a few festivals, right? So imagine not having to go to Coachella, but actually watching it. I know Essence Fest is Hulu was sponsoring it. They did that, which is interesting. UFC,
that's going to be
is one of those ones that is. I know ESPN has it now, but
I mean, even when I saw Dana get a chance to do the roast,
right?
I'm like, this is a perfect segue to having. Then he had the fighters with him as well. I'm like, this is a brilliant soft launch
and live events.
Yes,
live event like the Kevin Hart, I think, was genius in that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tom Brady had some some remarks about how they went in on his kids. He didn't really appreciate that. But watching that happening live was new. I hadn't experienced something on Netflix where I was like, all right, I'm watching this. This is actually happening right now. This is no holds barred. There's no second takes. I mean, when Gronk spiked the glass and it was like, oh shit, this is live. Like somebody can get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was interesting. And so having more live events like that, or even like imagine a sitcom there where there's no rehearsals.
That'd be fire.
Right? Like I think ABC was doing that for a while where they did the throwback shows where they had live sitcoms.
Okay.
That'd be interesting.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, as long as you have a live component, sports obviously is the number one thing that people will watch, but having live components more on the streaming platform, I think it makes it very attractive.
They did the 50 cents of cable. They told them not to sing. And, like, it was interesting to watch Netflix tear down cable. Of course, they went through a bunch of iterations, but to then now push to be like the number one place that people are looking to watch things live is very interesting. Everyone is your competition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, without further ado, we will bring our guest on, Vlad Tenev. Vlad, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me, guys. Looking good.
Appreciate you being here.
For sure, man. Long time no see. Congratulations on the success of Robinhood. You guys have had a hell of a year. Stock is up over 100%. So we got a lot to talk about. But first and foremost, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on again.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So for anybody that doesn't know, Vlad Tenev is the CEO of Robinhood, wildly popular stock trading app whose mission was to democratize stock trading.
Yep.
And
yeah, sure did.
For sure. So, okay. So I want to ask you, I know you guys, like I said, your stock is up over 100% for the last 12 months. You saw a record net deposits of $11 billion and $3 billion in net asset inflows from every major brokerage firm. And then you also, I think it was, Bank of America just gave you a double upgrade.
Upgraded, yep.
So what factors has attributed to the strong performance over the last 12 years for you guys? For the last 12 months for you guys?
I think it's really a couple of things. One is that we actually had to change the strategy of the business quite a bit in 2022. So in 2022, interest rate environment changed in the US. We went from kind of a prolonged period of low interest rates that, you know, there was a brief pause where the Fed started tightening a little bit in 2019, but that was quickly interrupted by COVID, and we entered sort of like the largest money printing era in recent history by several metrics. And then the recovery of COVID led to sort of like the highest interest rates and the biggest monetary tightening that we had seen in 3 decades or more. So basically what happens is when interest rates are high, people are less interested in investing. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, if you have the ability to receive 5% risk-free on your cash, less of your money is going to go towards the stock market because that cash interest, which is risk-free, is much more attractive. The other thing is other people are also doing this analysis. And so you tend to get equity multiples dropping and equity prices decreasing. And so that's why in 2022, you saw the major indices take a big hit. And that also kind of makes people less likely to want to invest. And so we saw all of that. And our business had really been geared towards getting lots and lots of new investors who were interested in the markets, getting them into the markets for the first time. And we had to change that. Now, the good part is any new environment does present new opportunities which didn't exist before. And in this particular case, what happened was high yield savings products became attractive. And the banks were really slow to catch up there because the banks were protecting their own bottom lines. And they had been used to paying 0% interest in customer checking and savings accounts. And that was kind of a key part of the model. And so we saw an opportunity to come up with a product that gives as much of that interest back to customers as possible. And that became the foundation of our Robinhood Gold product. So we gave customers a really high yield, one of the most competitive yields on the market, which right now is 5% or more for our customers. And you give the high FDIC insurance up to $2.25 million of protection, more than you can get at any one bank. And that became the foundation of Gold, which is a subscription offering. And then it's obviously great for customers because they can get this high risk-free rate, but it's also great for our business because by growing this offering, we grew the Gold business. And the Gold business is a subscription kind of recurring revenue stream that is sort of decoupled from trading revenue, which had been sort of like the biggest part of our business and moved up and down with the volatility of the markets. So that happened in fall of 2022. Then we launched retirement. Retirement's been going very, very well. And that is also less subject to fluctuations in the markets, because when people think about their retirement, they're really thinking with a 30-year time horizon or more. And so money that goes into retirement accounts tends to stay there. And it's sort of a different mental calculus. It's less customers thinking about trading. That product has done well. And of course, the credit card, which hopefully you guys have seen. I have one with me that I can show you if you would like. That's been resonating. And it's really just the beginning. And kind of the past three months or so, we've seen a resurgence in equity markets as well. And we've been kind of improving those capabilities the entire time too. So really, that's just the business strategy has changed. The company has had to adapt. We took advantage of the new environment that we're in. And I think the strategy is finally beginning to resonate with more and more public investors. And that's what you're seeing in the stock market.
I think you were unfairly criticized for making investing fun and democratized for new investors. But as an entrepreneur, how do you create new innovative products and methods, but prevent those attacks from coming? Because at the time when you guys were doing that, TD wasn't easy to use, wasn't fun to use. Can you talk to us, like, how do you avoid being vilified while innovating in this space, which is really conservative?
Yeah, I don't think I figured it out yet, to be clear. I think that, we're going to get our fair share of criticism, and, some of it's fair. I think these are really important issues, and we have to make sure that, when we give people powerful financial tools, be it trading, investing, or even consumer credit, each of these have the potential to be abused, and there have been problems with them being abused by certain people in society. And so we have to, we actually should be held to a higher standard of scrutiny, and we need to to have answers to those questions. So I think that rather than trying to kind of like avoid the question, my approach has been to kind of lean in and kind of hear the criticism and see in some cases whether there's improvements we can make to the product to address the kernel of it that may be true. Because, you know, in all of this criticism, it's not all baseless. I mean, there are people that trade irresponsibly, and there's also people that, you know, jump on a bandwagon and just trade something because others are doing it. And we want to make sure that while we strongly believe people have the right to do whatever they want with their money, that they have all of the information they need to make the decisions that they want to make. So at least they're going in eyes wide open.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we spoke, one of the key components that you said of adding to the product was the educational piece. It was one of the things you said that we realized during that craze in 2021 that may have been a little bit absent. So even last week when we're talking about meme stocks again, it didn't feel like Robinhood was in the news because you guys have made those improvements. Talk about that educational process and adding that to the product and how you guys have made that at the forefront of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe it doesn't go as much into like the meme stock frenzy that we saw last week, because my experience is these folks that are interested in the meme stocks know what they're doing. By and large, they're doing a very specific thing, and they want to make that trade. And we have multiple groups of people that we try to serve with Robinhood. One is active traders, and a big part of our strategy is to be number one in the active trader market. It's an important market for us. It is generating a decent chunk of the firm's revenue, and right now we're number two behind the TD Schwab combined entity, but we have a path to number one, and that's kind of one core component of what we're doing. We also want to grow wallet share with customers, and we're building Robinhood, and we see potential that this is working because customers are asking us to do more with Robinhood. They love the product so much that they don't want to just use it for their investing. They've shown that they want to use it for retirement. They want to move their spend to it, and that's why we rolled out the credit card. And in the future, we see Robinhood being the place where, for our customers, all of their assets are held at Robinhood. All of their transactions go through Robinhood, and that's kind of what we're building. Kind of the third thing is going international. Right now, we're largely in the US. We just launched in the UK and in the European Union for crypto a few months ago. But there's billions of people out there that don't have access to these great tools, and we want to make sure they're available to everyone. And kind of the way that I've been thinking about it is, you can ask, like, how can the same company offer you options trading and things like futures, which are these like extremely sophisticated products for traders, while also offering you retirement. And the way that I think about it is, our active trader products are almost like if we were like a auto manufacturer like Mercedes. There's the F1 AMG division, which is responsible for building high performance products. And they might be for a niche audience. They're not mass market products, but there's a small section of the population that really cares about performance and wants to be at the forefront in innovation in automotive. And so they're building for them. And on the other side, they're selling minivans and SUVs to the mass market. And so I think it is possible for Robinhood as one brand to serve active traders. And these are the folks that want to be at the forefront of innovation in financial markets and also care about performance and speed and tooling, and we're building for them. But we also think this can be a product that can serve the serious money of millions and millions of people and be very mass market. And we believe we can do that with the same brand.
So, you obviously had a crazy experience during the pandemic when it came to GameStop, right? And it just, as fate would happen, the GameStop situation came back up again last week. So last time we spoke about, the issues that you guys had as far as stopping trading and all the different things that people weren't fully aware of. And you kind of gave a very detailed explanation on that. So my question is now, it's a two-part question. how do you see in general this meme stock craze? Do you think it could ever have the potential to reach heights of the pandemic? And what did you learn from the last experience that you are prepared for this time around if it reaches that level, to not have people, complain, locked out of their accounts, not able to trade, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, to answer the second question first, I think that in moments like these is when you see the improvements that we've made in the technology, the infrastructure, the customer service, the education. I mean, there were instances last week during the height of the frenzy that other brokers had significant downtime or outages, and Robinhood was not only reliable and available at those times, but we were also one of the only places that you could trade these stocks 24 hours a day. So there's a new product that we rolled out about a little bit over a year ago called 24-Hour Market, which allows the trading of over 900 single name stocks 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so the interesting thing about this was not just that Robinhood was available, but we actually introduced a new innovation into the trading market that was very, very important during this time, because actually the first inklings, when I first heard about this latest meme stock frenzy, was Sunday night, because people were posting Robinhood screenshots of the stock prices, and we're one of the only places that's actually open for trading Sunday night. And so I think it really started there and continued through the market open, but really continued 24 hours a day throughout the whole last week. And kind of that's the element that I'm most proud of here. It's not just the reliability, but through this, the word gets out that Robinhood's, again, the leader in innovation. And now markets are 24-hour in a way that they weren't a few years ago. And traders have access to this new tool and new technology. And I do believe that in the future, it should become more standardized, and markets should be 24 hours. Settlement should be real time. And Robinhood needs to continue to lead the way there. And remind me your first question. You asked two questions.
The first question was just, in general, do you think that it has the potential to reach the level that it did a couple years ago, just as far as the meme stock craze? What's your opinion on just the meme stock craze in general, the second wave of it?
Yeah, I mean, these things are hard to predict, and we don't actually see all of the market participants. We're kind of just observing the activity in many ways like you guys are. So I don't know what level it's going to get to. Certainly, things have the capability of going viral on social media, and you started to see a little bit of that. I mean, my relatives reached out because they saw, Roaring Kitty in the news, and they're like, "Uh-oh, what's going on? Are you guys doing okay?"
Here we go again.
I remember last time, but yeah, a lot of it. I mean, we just have to be reliable and robust and prepare for it happening. But yeah, as to whether it does happen, that just depends on things that are outside of our control, really.
As CEO, what's the biggest career lesson that you've learned up until this point that you wish you knew from the very beginning when you started?
Ooh, yeah, that's a really big one. I've learned so many. Every day has new lessons. I think if I had to sum it up, it's that I think it's important to be authentic. A lot of times, especially as a public company, you have to project an image of almost being like an actor and portraying what you believe a public company CEO should be saying and doing. And I think, I've had much more success when I say what's on my mind, authentic to me, and just have my own style and not to try to be an actor, playing the role of a public company CEO, because I'm not a very good actor, to be honest.
One of the things you talked about is the active trader. And so you said that trading 24 hours is something that has helped the retail trader, especially on your platform. We've seen other platforms try to do it. I know that I'm on a few that have recently implemented it, not on 900 single equities, but they've introduced probably 12.
Yeah.
That speaks to another form of trading, which is cryptocurrency, which is also 24 hours a day. Talk about the importance, because we know in the first quarter, Shadi, referenced the amount of increase that the stock has seen. A lot of that had to do with retail traders inside of cryptocurrency. We saw crypto go to 70,000. We already, have documented the Bitcoin halving. Talk about the importance, and was there a shift to it because of the influx of cryptocurrency being 24 hours?
Well, I think there was a shift to it because we pushed for it, and someone has to be the prime mover and actually go through the work of making it available. And then, the market makers get involved at that point, and it creates a two-sided market. And then, the exchanges you see are now interested in it as well, because they see that there's retail investors trading, there's market makers that are providing liquidity. And so, things have to get started, but usually if there's enough activation energy, they continue on. Regarding crypto, I think that there's sort of a veneer of meme coins and sort of like silly things that give crypto perhaps an unfairly negative reputation among some people. But I think underlying some of these projects and some of these layer one chains, there's extremely sophisticated technology that can actually help save costs and improve the experience and lower risk in the traditional financial system. So, for example, there is an initiative that we helped really lead and push for around real-time settlement. So stocks right now settle in 2 days. So after the trade is made, the actual shares and money move over a 2-day period subsequent to that. And that's changing to 1 day at the end of this month. And eventually it'll get to real time. But this is like a big coordinated technology problem where decades old firms that are running on mainframes have to upgrade. And so it's sort of slower than it should be for primarily that reason. But if you look at crypto, settlement is instant. All of it's done in software. You can cross-collateralize and lend against assets that are on the same blockchain pretty easily. Tokenizing things is fairly easy. You see that with the stable coins, like USDC, for example, or even the rise of Tether on alternative networks like Tron in certain countries overseas where the local currency has been decimated by hyperinflation. You see those becoming very, very popular. And it's in some ways easier to get. I mean, in pretty much all ways, it's easier to get than traditional dollar bills in these markets. So I think you're starting to see real use cases where if we were to adopt this technology and allow firms to build on top of it, the costs of producing a financial company or offering a product to customers safely goes down by at least 10 times. And so that's why I think it's important. I think it could actually move the industry forward. It's another frontier of innovation. And I think for those reasons, the U.S. needs to be a leader in this space. I think it's incumbent on Robinhood and the other players in the industry to push for the world where that's the case. We don't want, I'm a European as well. We don't want the Europeans to continue leading in regulation here, but that's kind of what's happening in the world of crypto.
So talk about your credit card. I know you said that you have it. If you could show it, that would be cool too. But why was that important for you guys to diversify your portfolio and add that? And what makes it different from other products in the financial services space?
Okay, so here it is. It happens to be in my wallet. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Nice.
14 karat gold.
14 karat with the logo at the top.
Yeah, I think it's actually 10 carat, if I'm not mistaken.
10 is stronger. True.
Yeah, it has to be. It can't be that soft because you don't want it to bend while you're swiping it. Let's see. Why is it important? I think that if you look in the U.S., the vast majority of spend for our customers is credit card spend. So credit cards are a tool for lending money, but they're also a tool for transacting and spending and buying things and paying bills. And in the US, where sort of like e-wallet adoption has not been as high, credit cards are still primary. So there's somewhere around 800 million cards in circulation in the US. Hundreds of millions of people have them. On average, they hold 2 to 3 cards per person. So it's more mass market than even investing. More people hold credit cards than individual brokerage accounts in the US. And so if we wanted to serve customers in the totality of their financial needs and we want to grow wallet share with them, we need to have a solution for their spend. And people tend to stay on credit cards as well. Once you get your first one, you're typically not going back to using debit for your transactions because of the rewards being so compelling and the economics and credit interchange being so high. It tends to be a one-way door where once you become a credit card user, you tend to stay one. And so we wanted to take the Robinhood recipe of industry-leading value and customer experience and build a credit card around that. And to us, what that looks like is on the economics front, 3% cash back across the board, which is higher than any other card gives. We also wanted to build an awesome digital app around your credit card experience. And I think the team's done a really amazing job there. The app is beautiful. It's delightful. It's like really easy to use. I think that if you guys have a chance to try it, it's rolling out right now. You'll see what I mean. It's the craftsmanship of this app. I don't think any other credit card product comes close. And then the third thing, the physical design. So this is a solid hunk of gold. It is minimal, nothing on the front, not even the network logo, just the Robinhood logo and a little stamp here that shows that it's gold. It has the atomic number. There's no number on the back. So from a security perspective, that's really good. You can, if you happen to lose the card, although if you lose this one, you've got bigger problems than just a plastic card, of course. You don't have to change your number because it hasn't been compromised. So we really paid attention to all the details and asked ourselves, how can we make the best credit card product? And how can we deliver a mass market credit card that has the perks that you would only see given to a high net worth credit card customer? And I think we've managed to do that. And the reception's been strong. Over 1 million people have signed up. Actually, over 1 million people signed up in the first month after we made the announcement. And now we just have to deliver it to all those people in a reasonable time frame while making sure that as we enter this new category, we do it with we do it carefully and manage all of the borrowing and all of the new things that you tend to see when you enter a new product category.
With the rise and acceptance of AI, have you guys considered or are you working on any algorithmic robots for trading on the platform?
I think that the really interesting use cases for AI tend to be things where maybe you have a human that's providing a valuable service to you that you're already paying for, or sort of like things that remove toil that you would do yourself, but that you really don't want to be doing, like filing your taxes or something. So, in the first category, you see things like self-driving vehicles, and there's a pretty clear market for that. You see customers doing ride sharing. They request a ride, there's a driver, they pay for it, very valuable service. So I think it makes a lot of sense to me that AI would disrupt that space. Now, when you think about financial services, I think there's several areas that humans are providing service to customers that have the potential to be disrupted or fundamentally rethought in the next 10 years. I think financial advice is clearly one of them. Customers are paying a lot of money for financial advice. It's something that only the wealthiest customers can afford right now. And really, really good advisors tend to want to serve you if you have millions of dollars. But if you're just getting started, or if you have hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands, it's pretty tough going. Like you're not getting great experience, not getting great service. So I think that can be fundamentally transformed by artificial intelligence. And that's an interesting problem that Robinhood can help solve for customers. The other thing is customer service. Providing customer service on a large scale, I think will be transformed by artificial intelligence, and particularly the transactional elements of, I have this problem, help me interpret it, help me understand it, help me solve it. I think AI is going to be very, very, very important there. I'm less bullish on the applications of AI to self-directed trading.
Okay.
And in the active trading space, I think there are applications kind of on the boundaries there that help remove toil and things like that. But I think people fundamentally enjoy doing that themselves. And so I don't think you're going to see it being replaced by robots anytime soon. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong about other things. In terms of Robinhood's role in this, I mean, we've been early in AI since before it was called AI. It was called machine learning for a long time. Now, if you say the words machine learning, people think that that you're very old school. But yeah, generative AI, LLMs, there's new technologies that have come in that we're going to continue to incorporate. But from the very beginning, I think we were very quick to invest in this.
Yeah, you referenced earlier that you had a couple focuses this year: winning the active trader, and we spoke about that, where you have a pathway to be number one, increasing wallet share, and expanding internationally. You said that there was expansion into the UK. I wonder, are there other international markets that you are looking to at the forefront of the expansion?
Yeah, we also expanded in the EU for crypto, and EU is a big market. Relatively uniform, although there are, of course, country-specific things there. But yeah, there's hundreds of additional millions of people that have access to Robinhood crypto services through the EU, and we've been rapidly iterating and rolling out new products there. And so this year, the focus is on rounding out the product suites in those markets, in the UK and in the EU, because there's still things that we have available in the US that these customers want that aren't available there. So it's working with the regulators and getting those things into those markets, and also expanding further. And obviously, we're looking at lots of places for further expansion. And the good thing is the bulk of the work is in that first step overseas. Since we're using our own technology platform that's uniform, going into other markets should be relatively straightforward for us beyond Europe and the UK.
So you guys recently reported your Q1 earnings on May 8th. Can you give us an overview and some key insights into that report?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it showed that the strategy was working, basically. I mean, it's a long-term strategy, but we want to deliver proof points, and a lot of those do come in quarterly earnings. So you saw market share in trading continue to go up across all of the assets, equities, options, and crypto. And that was pretty exciting. You saw wallet share going up across our customer base. So you can see that through net deposits being over 11 billion, the highest in our history. Gold subscribers, 1.7 million, also the highest in our history, above what we saw during 2021 at the height of the bull market. Retirement and net account transfers, I think you mentioned this earlier, but getting net inflows from all of our major competitors. So across all of our major competitors, people are moving assets to us, not taking assets away from us. And then international continues to grow and expand. We had general availability in the UK and are growing our market share there as well. So adding all of this together across the three focus areas, record revenues of over 600 million, record net income, record EBITDA. I mentioned the net deposits and the gold subscribers. So there was it was a strong quarter for us, but just a quarter, and we've got a long ways to go. I think that this company, there's a 10+ year roadmap of things that we have to build and deliver. And if I just think about kind of like what the path is to making it 10 times bigger, I think there's several paths. I mean, we think about that a lot here. Obviously, we're primarily in the US and we want to expand to all over the world. We are primarily an investing and trading company still, even though we've taken first steps there. And we want to serve all of our customers' financial needs. And even in the investing and trading space, we've got a little bit over 100 billion in assets. The largest investment firms have trillions of assets right now. So they're literally almost 100 times bigger than us. So there's, even in the US, room to grow there. And I think that the next generation of financial firms, which are global by default and are benefiting from what we think is going to be a large generational wealth transfer away from baby boomers to Gen X and millennials subsequently, that should birth and create financial firms with 40+ trillion in assets. So significantly bigger than the largest firms that we're seeing today. And we're doing what we can to make Robinhood one of those firms and to be the primary recipient and place that customers go for this generational wealth transfer. And I think that's something that's going to continue to snowball and accrue over the next several decades. And we have to be in a position where we're ready and prepared for it.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch our show. So if we can talk about scale, is there any advice you can give to entrepreneurs who are trying to scale? I believe you guys are worth like 17.9 at the moment. I know you want to scale to 170. You talked about some of the roadmaps and ideas that you had to get there. But for those who are looking to come into the financial services space or in tech, do you have any key insights that you want to share from your journey as being founder and CEO to help to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I heard this little nugget that resonates with me. I think you should always have a pretty clear picture in your mind about how to add another zero to whatever it is you're doing, how to make it 10 times bigger than it currently is. And, if you do that enough times, I know when I first got started, it was sort of beyond me how Robinhood could be a $100 million company. I thought that was just such a crazy number that I couldn't wrap my head around it. But, when we became a $10 million company, then we started thinking about it and we formulated a plan, and it didn't seem so out of the realm of possibility. Then we got to that level, once we raised our Series A, which was at a 75 million post money. You ask yourself, how can you exceed that, right? What would it look like if we were 10 times bigger than that? And you only have to do that 3 or 4 times before you're actually operating at pretty large scale. So I think that's a good exercise. Another good exercise is especially when things were kind of rough 2 years ago or so, after board meetings and sort of like on occasions, like once a quarter after an earnings, I would ask myself, and I'd sit down with my team, okay, if like let's go through the exercise of thinking what would happen if the world's greatest CEO or the archetype of one would come in and like see the state of this company with like a beginner's mind and beginner's eyes. What decisions would they make? Would they make changes? Like, would they actually like adopt a strategy? And sometimes you can discover obvious things that way that maybe you're hiding from yourself because they might contradict earlier decisions that you've made and that you're kind of holding close. I'll give a concrete example because I know it's a little bit abstract. In 2022, we announced that we were going remote first, and I kind of pretty much immediately regretted that. I thought that was a bad decision. And then, of course, at the time when we were kind of debating this, the overwhelming wisdom was that companies that had hedged like the decision about whether to go back to the office or remote were having a hard time getting people back to the office, right? Like your Googles and Amazons and like the big tech companies were having a hard time getting people to come in because people had gotten used to being remote. And there was this impression that the market had shifted. And we had also announced that we were remote first. So it was like a double whammy on our part. But I sat to myself, I said, okay, like if you were someone coming in who was like really, really good and tough and intense, and you wanted to improve the company, what would you do? And, first thing they do, probably get people back into the office. And I think that way you discover things that maybe you're holding close that you shouldn't be. And kind of having this exercise helped us discover a lot of those things. And we made a list and we hit all 10 of them. And I think the company is just a different company and obviously doing much better because of it.
The stock price definitely indicates that. You just got upgraded from BOA. The proposed Fed cut rates are soon to happen from everything that we see. So it brings me to a question. When you look at a quarter and the report comes back the way it does, what goes into the thought process of deciding to give future guidance or not give future guidance about the company?
Yeah, so right now we give expense guidance, not revenue guidance. And the reason for that is the revenue guidance can fluctuate quite a bit depending on the state of the equity markets and also the crypto markets. And so the bands can be somewhat wide. Now, the goal is over time to make the bands less wide by just diversifying the business much more. And I think we've been doing that by diversifying the business. Sort of the floor goes up. And, while different business lines like crypto and equities can be volatile, if you have enough of them, they kind of smoothen out and create a diversified portfolio. So I think that, this approach obviously has its pros and cons. What we do instead of revenue guidance is publish metrics on a monthly basis. So a couple weeks after the end of each calendar month, we publish numbers, and you can kind of track how we're doing in close to real time because of that. And we think it's been working effectively. But besides expense guidance, I can't really comment too much on the pros and cons of giving guidance because that's all we give.
Well, Vlad, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you coming on and providing insight. We got to come back to the campus sometime. That was an enjoyable experience. So thank you. Any last
absolutely.
You want to leave the audience with?
yeah, a lot of people ask me what the secret sauce of Robinhood is. So maybe I'll share it with you guys and the viewers. So every other financial company, pretty much every other financial company out there, when they build a new product and roll it out, they like to start out with the financial model for that product. They have like a certain return on equity, profit margin goal that they want to achieve. And they ask themselves, you know, how can we build a decent product around these financial constraints? And I think Robinhood might be the only company that does it a little bit differently. We ask ourselves, how can we put the most money back into our customers' pockets and make that product and the experience 10 times better? And then the financial model is kind of secondary. Then we ask ourselves, how can we like make it work as a business second to that? And I think really that's the reason why we rolled out commission-free trading. That's why we rolled out our retirement product with the 3% match, our gold product with the industry-leading yield, and now the credit card with 3% cash back on all categories and this amazing design. It's because the way we think about product development is like fundamentally inverted from how other companies do it. And I think it's pretty rare in financial services in particular, because a lot of people get into financial services because they want to make a lot of money and they're looking out for the bottom line and profits. So I think, simply put, that's why Robinhood is able to do the things that we do, because we have this fundamentally different approach to how we deliver value to customers.
There you have it.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. And yes, we'll talk soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good one.
I appreciate you.
All right. Vlad Tenev,
That was legendary.
CEO of Robinhood, provided great insight on the company.
Hell of an innovator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he weathered the storm in 22 because that was a rough battle.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about interest rates being peaked at where they at. You had retail investors, you had crypto, a lot of people coming to the space. I know the last time we spoke, education was important. But you can see they've improved, and they're starting to see the benefits of those improvements when you look at the stock price over the past 6 months.
Yeah, that brokerage business is a very tough business to be in. The margins are thin, not really favored long-term amongst hedge funds and market makers. So to be able to weather that has been
and you're innovative inside of a space where there's an old guard.
Oh yeah, and there's not much innovation.
Right. So we're talking about, and he mentioned it, there's platforms that have trillions in assets under management where you're just trying to crack in it. Yeah. But what we're seeing is that the way that people invest, what retail investors look like, what their demographics are, is changing. Mm-hmm. Right. So people might not go to a TD. They might look at their phone and what's the most thing that's accessible. Yeah. And most times it's Robinhood. Almost
Amazon-esque to like focus on what is user-friendly for the end user and to give them things they want, opposed to if you've been on other platforms. When you first log onto a platform, it look like you're in a spaceship almost. So
it can be intimidating.
Absolutely.
So what how do you feel about the stock?
22, 23 is definitely the time to buy. I think it's too high to buy right now, but if it pulled back to like $14, I would be pro buying. I think this stock is probably a classic case of like where you buy matters a hell of a lot. With my investment thesis, there are certain businesses I tend to stay away from. Brokerages are one of them, but I do think that they're innovating. I'm not just saying that just
because of the margins.
Yeah, because the margins are incredibly thin. But I do think, and I know something about this, he has a cult fan base amongst Robinhood. Like, when that market is on fire, they'll rally and they can push it up. But also interest rates matter a hell of a lot. If interest rates come down, I would definitely give a look at it. But it's very price specific. Between $12 and $14 is where I would like to acquire it. Yeah, well, I like Vlad as a CEO.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. Sometimes it's the leader, right? Like when we talk about the metrics of how we evaluate a company we're going to invest in.
Who's the leader? Who's the leader?
Who's the leader? Yeah.
Speaking of bad leadership, did he put that apology away?
We're gonna save that.
Zoom in on me.
Well, we're gonna say that's Wednesday.
Every day's Wednesday when I'm active. Put that bum ass apology away. I was in a bad place and I was in a dark time.
Unfortunately, he can't put that back.
He said, put it back. So you don't think he should have apologized?
You should put that publishing back too while we at it. Danity Kane don't need send Big Mom that publishing back.
Kane. Shout out to day 26.
These are just my thoughts and not reflective of Troy and Rashad. This is Ian and Red Panda only. These jokes are written by me. Get that publishing back.
I might have to call in. I'm gonna call into Blackout.
Blackout at 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
They should have apologized, but he didn't seem sincere. Are we gonna lie?
The timing of it.
It wasn't the timing. It
Well, I'm
didn't
saying,
seem real.
should you have apologized prior to the video? Right, if you knew those actions that took place.
Yeah, I think he should have. If you're gonna apologize, you gotta apologize when it first hit.
Right.
When the first lawsuit in November.
Right.
Then you're like, yo, the truth will come out. It did. Now you looking crazy with Russell and Bali. What are we like?
Allegedly, he's in Bali.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
The rise and fall of a black billionaire Wednesday at 10 o'clock
I'm
Eastern
gonna call
Standard
Gene
Time.
one day too. Y'all gonna make me mad. I'm gonna call Jaguar Gene.
I'm gonna reserve my comments for
Are
Wednesday.
we accepting call-ins?
Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we will have Kenny Burns
Shout out to
on.
my brother KB.
That's gonna be one of them ones.
Crazy.
And you might have some things to say.
Probably.
Maybe.
You might.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You might.
All right. Okay. So before we leave, let's
We have Sean call in.
Sean Poe.
That's a shot.
My brother. That's my
Sean
guy.
Poe. What's the futures trading tip for the week?
I would look at the macro picture and I would add a 0 volume line over the volume of whatever you're trading. So if we reach underneath a 0 volume line, of course, the market is down. Those are also a good indicator for when you should be buying for long term. And second, you need to look at another commodity like the Bloomberg Index / AW on Thinkorswim and German DAX. I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but all the ES NASDAQ trades are overcrowded. Like I want to go to the trades where people are not often like when I first came in trading futures, I was trading Russell 2000 when it was /TF. I was been in this game before black people was on YouTube talking about investing and trading. So you have RTY now. I talked about EMD, but sometimes like the gold hit an all-time high today. Sometimes you have so many competitors in one pool, going back to the blue ocean strategy. You need to go to another market where people are not there. So I would look at the Bloomberg Commodity Index. I would probably look at German DAX as well. But I would add that 0 volume line to see if the volume is high or low, and it'll tell you if you should be shorting or going long in that market. Shout out to all my traders, though.
Shout out to the traders.
Yeah, love y'all.
So what are your 3 favorite research tools to help you get an edge in the market?
Number 1, tipranks.com. So I'm looking.
That's a good one.
That's a very good site.
That's a good one.
Very cumbersome. You can spend hours on that site, but I'm looking to see what the insider activity is. Number 2, barchart.com, but I'm going to future price surprises. So that will give you an indication on the day for if there's like a lot of volume in one future that is not as common.
Mm-hmm.
So you may see like a deviation of 2% or 3% in terms of like a standard deviation, which means the volume is really high. And it'll give you a place to like probably set up your short or your long according to what the volume is. And the last one is macroaccess.com. I'm looking at the bankruptcy score for some of those companies. So when some of you GameStop gorillas was talking crazy last week, you should go look to see what that bankruptcy score is. It is not good. And I did say that it was going to fall before future expirations and crystal ball.
That was Friday.
Crystal balling.
What, do you use Zax at all?
Oh, I love Zax.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's another one. That would be like a bonus.
absolutely. Yeah, I like Zax a lot.
What is an option trade for this month?
Yeah, give us option trade.
Ah,
Get back to
man.
the people.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about it on the call. I think, and this is interesting news. I always tell you got to look at the economic factors and look at some of the reports. I love TSM. I think I said this at the end of 2023, and we asked what were our companies of 2024. TSM was one of them. If you looked at the news last week, they actually, so ASML, we spoke about, makes the machines that actually allows TSM to produce, I think, 65% of the world's semiconductors. They've actually now saying we may not need ASML, which is an interesting.
That's interesting.
Right. So now we're talking about this capital expenditures, and we talked about the foundries that are being built here in America from TSS standpoint. We obviously know the geopolitical situation with them in China, but for them to say that they may not need their number one supplier, and the reason was the cost that goes with buying ASML machines, which is ridiculously highly priced. If they now can figure out that they can use their machines to produce the same quality of a chip, now you're talking about cost reduction.
Yeah.
And so those type of things I love. Obviously, as we see NVIDIA, which is going to report on Wednesday, anything inside the semiconductors, I mean, they go hand in hand. So I think TSM is definitely one of my options trades for this month. I'm already in a 105 call for, I think, January of next year. But SMH as well. I know that's more of a conservative look where you're investing in the ETF.
Yeah.
Obviously, if NVIDIA's, which we all expected to have a blowout quarter, SMH, which has NVIDIA inside of it as its leading asset, that rises as well. TSM is in there. So if you want to be more conservative, get the ETF, SMH. I love this single equity TSM though.
Yeah, we need one of the chip CEOs come on the show.
Yeah. We can get one. Yeah, we should be able to get one.
Jensen looking like Steve Jobs more and more every
the leather
day.
jacket is becoming
leather jacket
becoming the turtleneck of this generation.
Absolutely. Kudos to him.
So gold's at record high. What's a good price to buy in?
I'm gonna save that for next week. I'm gonna save that for next week.
Is that all-time high today?
Yeah, it's at an all-time high today. So I wanted to, people, because sometimes when I give the price, they'll say no, I don't think it's gonna go there, and then it pulls back, and they're like, "Yo, I lost." I'm like, "Not at the price I call." So let's save it for next week, and we'll pull up charts too. I think that'll be
gonna be some charts.
Yeah.
Oh, let's bring the charts.
I think that'll be fun.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking of charting, Puff, your career's over. Tune in Wednesday.
Tune in Wednesday. Blackout.
Fair. That's fair.
Blackout. 10 o'clock Wednesday. We will be talking about the Diddy saga.
Yeah.
The rise and fall of a black billionaire.
Yeah. Oh, and some of y'all better be careful too. Puff still Puff. He the real Suge. Y'all gonna talk crazy, and he gonna put hands on
Be
some of
mindful.
y'all. Be mindful.
Yeah.
Be mindful.
I think it would be remiss if we didn't. Obviously, we saw the situation. I'm sure y'all allude to it.
Yeah.
But our prayers and condolences to anybody that's been in that situation or
Absolutely.
who saw themselves in that situation or has come out of that situation. Our condolences go out to everybody who's been a victim of that. So we want to take lighthearted about that. All right, it's unfortunate, but I'm sure you guys are going to get into some things.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. And drugs and alcohol is never an excuse for
Facts.
violent or erratic behavior. So
Especially against women.
Protect our women.
for sure.
Protect our
So
women.
nah, Puff, you dead wrong for that. But just in general, because that happens a lot where people they make excuses because they were high.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I did this, I was high. I didn't remember. I know people,
Yeah.
like people committed murder because they were high. Didn't fully understand what they were doing and they came down, but that is no excuse. Don't get high.
Inexcusable.
Right?
Yeah.
So don't get high on these exotic drugs and don't get drunk if you can't handle your liquor.
Yeah.
Because when you do things, that's not an excuse. It's really not.
Yeah.
But
There's a few of y'all in the music industry about to get canceled. With a couple of them, act appropriate.
Protect our women.
Yes. Quit being foul. Quit being nasty. Quit pushing up on people who don't want you. Oh boy, in Jersey, quit having them little girls at your house too.
What?
and stop asking me about the money, man. We never got the money.
He never paid.
We never got the money. Stop asking me. Leave me alone. Stop asking me about the check. Man.
I'm gonna come on investor stage with a $2 billion
How many
check.
times?
If that's what he can get off,
How many times we gotta say this, man? We never got the money.
Protect our women.
And it was
Yes.
never a donation. It was a fund that we were supposed to invest the money for him, and the proceeds was supposed to go to charity. But we never got the money. But we'll talk about that in Blackout.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's time for real men to stand up and be men
big facts.
and lead.
And y'all quit being suckers hiding behind because y'all want to be all in the videos dancing too. If y'all know foul shit going on in the music industry, entertainment industry, please say something. No, I ain't know that. Okay. Okay. These are my views. Wednesday, I'm gonna be turned. I don't give a fuck how many calls they get this week. I'm going crazy. Y'all lucky Tupac mom ain't like, I'll call Faye too. Muta, I need you. I know it's gonna be 7 a.m. in Abu Dhabi. Nah.
Blackout hour. That blackout hour.
Reggie White and Whack 100 call in too.
Whack 100. Whack 100.
Damn.
Oh,
Yo.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. My boy Ryan tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
Fire.
Billionaire, another billionaire on EYL. If you are an HBCU student,
Yes.
we are doing a ticket giveaway for InvestFest. Go to investfest.com All the information is there. Fill out the application, and everything else that you need to know will be there. Shout out to Spellman and shout out to Morehouse for collaborating with us. Like I said, that's the partnership that we have. But if you are a student at an other outside HBCU, then you can be involved in it as well. Oh, and we have first come, first serve.
It's gonna be amazing.
And definitely want to, incorporate some young people and give them an opportunity. When you talk about InvestFest, you're gonna have billionaires there. You're gonna have a lot of entrepreneurs. You're gonna, just to be inspired, seek information, network. I think is great for somebody that's 20 years old, 21 years old, 19 years old to be in that environment. Can really change your life. So tap in,
please, please. And we can't leave. We can't leave without offering a huge. We talking about men leading. Congratulations to our brother Mike and his beautiful bride. Congratulations on your wedding, my brother. It was beautiful. We're happy to see you there. Happy to see the growth, and we miss you nothing but blessings and success and everything that y'all deserve, man. Y'all are a beautiful couple, man. So congratulations again. We love you dearly.
Yes,
sure.
Clive Davis, we need you on the interview, my brother.
Crazy. This guy's crazy.
Am I?
Clive Davis.
We need Clive Davis.
No, he probably should answer some questions. We got some questions.
New Jalisco.
No, we got
certain people.
This Arista situation. We never really got answers about that. But I'll leave that to y'all.
You're a smart man.
Blackout. We might black out. You never know.
Listen, I'm go crazy.
If there's a part where Ian gets muted, that's me, y'all. Don't blame him. It's me.
Oh, then I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna call Jaguar right. I get muted. We don't have a
yo. She's.
Oh yeah.
Was she wrong?
Be careful, huh?
You gonna bring that up on Wednesday, Jaguar?
About what she was wrong about?
Some of the things she said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm in a good mood. I'm in a peaceful mood.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My boy nervous, ain't it?
Nah. So good. Blackout. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it for sure. So all right, guys. Tap in tomorrow, and we'll see you on Wednesday.